Hello, and welcome to Future Leaders in Philadelphia. I'm your host, Derek Sawyer. We're bringing this show so we can highlight people in our community, along with local organizations who are striving to make Philadelphia a better place. Our focus is on our community's next generation of leaders. In this episode, we're talking with the nonprofit organization CORA Services. This organization strives to assist children, youth, and families experience emotional, academic, and social challenges. Their programs range from early childhood education centers, centers in school therapy, to after-school activities, founded by the Sister of the Shepherd in 1971. The group today serves more than 20,000 children and families every year. Here to tell us about CORA Services is their Director of Institutional Advancement, Helene Bagnowski, and Prevention Education Specialist, Genevieve Zanakis. That's a tongue twister. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with CORA.
With CORA. So CORA Services is a resource center for children and families, and I came to them about 3 years ago to do work in marketing and fundraising.
Nice. Janine?
So I was actually a senior here at LaSalle, and I had a friend who worked for the after-school programs who suggested me to come interview.
Great. So you have a lot of different types of services.
We do. As I said, we're a resource center for children and families, so we serve individuals, children, adolescents, and families. And the philosophy is that everyone is served kind of in the context of their family or support system, whatever that may be.
Right.
And our services range from all stages of life. So we have a Lifeline program that helps young adult mothers and fathers with that transition into being a parent, all the way up to individual and group services for mental health or substance abuse counseling, and pretty much everything in between.
Great. There are 3 core categories, right?
There are, yes. So one of the things that CORA is most known for is our school services department. Our largest contract is the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. So many people know CORA as where you went to the trailer in grade school if you grew up in the Philadelphia area, which means that back when we started those services, you couldn't do state or city-funded services in Catholic schools. So we had to set up trailers in the parking lots. And in those trailers were speech therapy. Nowadays we do occupational therapy. Then you would hear, when I applied for the job, a lot of people said, oh, I remember seeing other kids going to the counselor in grade school. It was like if their parents were getting divorced, they needed to talk about it, or they were being bad, and they had to go talk to the counselor. But it may have been for those reasons or any other number of reasons. So any of the services that children receive in public schools that they would receive through the city or state, we're a service contractor. So we're contracted to do that in a number of private and non-public schools, so charter schools as well.
Great. So you don't really work for the school board, but you have contract services.
Right. We're a nonprofit. We're owned by the Sisters of the Sisters of Good Shepherd. Technically, they started us, but we're a non-denominational service organization.
Great. What does your clinical services entail?
So our clinical services are our newest division. Everything was kind of under school services or community services. Our clinical services is therapeutic services. Probably the biggest service that we have is SAP, which is student assistance programming. Student assistance programming takes place largely in the public schools, but we also have some SAP contracts in other schools, and that means that we have counselors go out and do behavior assessments. And so they'll bring together a student, teachers, families to assess the needs of a student and make sure they're being supported appropriately. And we also do individual and group counseling and all different mental health supports at every level.
Of those 3 services, which are your favorite?
So the third category is community services. Out of all of our divisions, I don't have a favorite. I have to love them all. I think they're all really important, just depending on who needs them and when.
So Genevieve, you're part of the community services,
Yes,
right?
so I'm allowed to have a favorite. It's community services.
All right. And tell us about that position and how it's funded.
So I do prevention education with the Community Services Division. My personal funding is through the Office of Addiction Services through the city. They give us a certain grant to go into our after-school programs and do social emotional learning with the kindergarten, first, second, and third graders. And then for the 4th, 5th, 6th, and middle school, we actually do drug and violence education and trying to prevent what could be a bad situation for our students.
Great. And you became involved with that program how?
So I actually started in the after-school programs as a group leader, but through my education here at LaSalle, I'm a certified health educator. So when we got the grant, I fought really hard to make it happen so that even not our middle schoolers, the younger population gets prevention education as well, because it starts from the beginning.
So that LaSalle education paid off.
It did.
So is there a website that you have that people can go to and find out more?
Absolutely. CORAServices.org is our website. You can find out more about all the different services there. You can also email caring@CORAServices.org and ask whatever your question might be, and you'll be referred to the right department.
And so how are the programs funded?
So depending on the contract, it's funded differently. Our after-school programs, for example, we're in 8 different public schools running after-school programming. And 3 of those schools are 21st Century Learning Center grant funded, so that's state funding. The rest of the schools are funded through DHS, or what's now referred to as the City of Philadelphia Office for Children and Families.
Right. You accept volunteers?
We do accept volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers, from everything from helping out with some of our children's programs to coming and helping at our Seussville, which is an early literacy event that's coming up on March 7th. And we have a golf outing and a number of other events. So we can accept volunteers at any level.
Great. What are the requirements to become a volunteer, one, and then also what are the requirements for a student to participate in your program?
Sure. So to become a volunteer, it depends on what kind of volunteering you want to do. If you want to do volunteering with children, you have to do all the appropriate clearances to work in those programs. If you want to volunteer at one of our events or something like that where it's staff run but you're helping out, there's no requirements except a great attitude and an interest in CORA.
Great.
As far as getting into our programs, I guess the after-school programs, none of our after-school programs in the public schools are they're not paid programs. So the way that we choose the children that are eligible to be in the programs is they fill out an application at the school, and then the school decides who are the families that have the greatest need. So provided that we have the space, we take them all, and if we have limited space, then we take those that the school has deemed could really benefit from this kind of programming.
Great. Do you have a success story you'd like to share?
I mean, I could
probably have a ton of them, but pick your favorite.
From after-school programming or from
your
anywhere?
Choice. How about one of each?
Well, I would say some of our success stories from being involved in our after-school programs are right here with us today, and you're going to interview them later.
Right.
Well, one is you, I guess, since you're working in one of the programs, but 2 of the students that you'll hear from later in the program started in our only after-school program that's for high school students. Mm-hmm. So it's George Washington High School in Northeast Philadelphia, and we have a work readiness after-school program there, so it's different than the other school programs because they're grade school children. And they were students in that program as participants, and then they went through the Philadelphia Work Ready program, where CORA takes between 50 and 75 kids every year, places them in all of our different programs to give them work experience. So Spencer and Jeff, who you'll meet later, one of them was my intern in the marketing department, and Jeff was in our IT department, and then they moved on to get jobs in our after-school program. So I would say that's a success story.
Big success story. Genevieve, what is your motivation? So I know you just graduated college a couple of years ago, and you had to decide a career path. So what was your motivation to join CORA?
So my motivation after meeting everyone my first summer here was just the passion everyone had. Everyone who works at CORA is just there to make another family's life better. So learning in that environment and growing into adulthood in that environment is just such a positive way to grow. So that was definitely my motivation to stay and to be a part of their mission.
So if you had to sell this program to one of your friends or to join CORA, what would you say to them?
I would say it's pretty easy to attract someone once you walk in the doors of CORA. Everyone's like, hi, how are you? What is your name? Tell me your story. It's just a great work environment. It's different than any other 9-to-5 office you'd want to join.
Great.
I wouldn't even describe it as a 9-to-5 office.
Was this a career path you knew you were going to go into?
It honestly wasn't. This was my first job with children. Had never worked with children before. Someone thought I'd be good at it, suggested me, and here I am 2.5 years later.
Helene, what about you? Was this the career path you knew you were going to go into?
No, I actually thought when I first came to LaSalle and I tried out some of this equipment as a prospective student, I thought, I could do a talk show one day. So I wanted to go into journalism or communication. I ended up in fundraising and marketing. So not too far off, but I didn't know that I even knew that fundraising was a career.
What makes fundraising a little challenging?
There's a lot of people looking for money, and there's
Right.
a lot of great causes. So you have to find people whose mission pairs well with yours and that really have an interest in making an impact.
And so how do you go about doing that when you meet someone that's a prospective donor? How do you sell that through your program so they can give the money to you versus someone else?
Our programs really sell themselves. I think you just have to ask donors the right questions to make
Right.
sure that you get to know them and what they're really interested in, and then take them to visit the right program or the right staff member that can speak passionately about the impact that we're having in that area, and then typically donors respond to that.
And how many donors do you have?
How many
Approximately
donors do
per
we have? We
year?
hope to, by the end of this fiscal year, have 500 individual donors, and then we have a lot of corporate funders and sponsors and foundations that support us as well.
And you working as a team, right? As a team, what would you say is one of your biggest challenges?
I would say that ever since there's so many programs and we're so broad, right, and I'm outside of the office a lot, and Genevieve's at school sites, and everyone that works at CORA isn't in the headquarters together. We're all in
Right.
different places. Just kind of staying on the same page in terms of knowing what is important that I could be telling a donor that's happening at your program, or her working with students, knowing what's going on at the headquarters and what's happening at the higher level of CORA. So it's often hard to make sure that all 300 and some employees are understanding all the great things to know about the other programs and the large team that they're a part of.
This show is Leadership for Future Leaders in Philadelphia. What would you say is the one leadership skill you learned by being in this program?
I would say public speaking, honestly. I've become so comfortable talking in front of a crowd now that I can lead a classroom of 20 kindergartners without
Right.
anyone running off.
Well, I want to thank both of you for coming on the show and sharing your experiences, and look forward to great things from you.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll talk more with members of CORA Services. Please stay with us.
Exposure to blue light can mess with your sleep and memory cycle, so make sure you limit your screen time at least 2 hours before you go to bed.
It's the small things that make a big difference.
Welcome back to Future Leaders in Philadelphia. I'm your host, Derek Sawyer. Today, we're featuring the CORA Services, a nonprofit agency who begin shaping our future leaders just as they're starting their education. The group helps about 20,000 children, youth, and families every year, guided by their tagline, "Children are the heart of the matter." Here to tell us more about CORA's after-school program called Youth CORA, our teaching assistants, and the South students, Lucy Hernandez, Jeff Jerome, and Spencer Jacob. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
The South students, huh?
Yes.
Yep.
Good job, good choice.
Thank you.
I need each of you to tell me what school you're at and what role you play in the program.
So,
Ladies first.
Thank you. I'm at Gilbert Spruance, and I am a teacher's assistant there for 4th and 5th grade.
4th and 5th grade?
Mhm.
And how do you like it?
I love it. I love my kids. I
Oh.
got used to. I got used to them, and they got used to me pretty quickly, and I love it there.
How long have you been there?
Ever since November of last year, so I haven't been there for too long, but it feels like I've been there for quite a while.
Great. Jeff?
I'm at St. Martin de Porres, is in North Philly. I work with some days the 2nd and 3rd graders, other days the 4th and 5th graders. What can I say about the kids? Every time I'm in the other classroom, like the other grade would miss me, be like, "Oh, you should stay in our classroom," stuff like that. The environment there is pretty interesting. I try to keep everything, calm and collective. A lot of people have to get homework help, so I try to keep them down with their homework.
Great.
But-
Where's St. Martin at?
St. Martin de Porres is in North Philly,
I know, what's the address?
2300 West Lehigh Avenue.
Oh, okay, great. I used to work near there,
Hmm.
near Broadly High, so.
Okay.
I'm currently stationed at Thurgood Marshall, and I'm currently teaching 4th and 5th grade as a TA, teacher's assistant. I like it there. It's pretty nice. Kids could be quite a hassle, but kind of get used to them a little bit.
What are some of the activities you enjoy doing with the students?
Well, I currently run a girls club there, so I do love spending time with my girls because I help them teach. I help teach them how to be leaders and how to be how to basically act in a society and how to be strong individuals in a world where basically men run everything, but we want to teach them that girls can also be at the same level where they're at.
Right. What made you start a girls club?
Well, I was offered an idea. I was offered to run a club, and they were like, "Do you have any ideas?" So I was like, "Let's run Boys and Girls Club." So I run Girls Club, and my the teacher that I assist there, his name is Ronaldo. He does the Boys Club.
What type of leadership lessons do you teach?
Well, sometimes I teach them how to take ownership of the things that they do,
Right.
how to become leaders in their classrooms, how to basically how to get them to become leaders in the society, even there in the schools that they're at, whether they want to become their teacher's assistant or work in the office or stuff like that.
Great.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Since I'm bouncing around between classes so much, the most I can help them with is homework. And most of the kids in the school, they tend not to know how to read or do certain big
Right.
words and stuff. So I mostly help them with their math homework or sometimes their reading homework if they need it. I find it really easy to help them because they have this new curriculum that they're teaching at the school that I really don't understand. But once I take a few minutes to sit there and listen, read it,
Right.
then I can come up with quick ways to help them and learn new ways, how to do a math problem or figure out how to spell this word or something. And the kids really like it. They come back to me really quickly with their grades in their class, and they're like, "Oh, I got an A on this, I got an A on that," and then it's just it feels good to see them be happy about the good grade because I'm helping them with their homework.
Great. What type of leadership skills do you teach?
I'm teaching them how to stay on top of things, make sure they're always doing their homework, make sure they, anytime if they get in trouble, not to react as quickly, make them think about what they're doing.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Great. Spencer?
Well, same thing with Jeff. I like to help them with their homework and help them, sit down, not fool around too much. Also, I like to teach them like leadership skills and teamwork. Like I usually like to play games with them,
Right.
like in the gym. Like my favorite game would be like dodgeball, and you know, you play that game, teamwork skills. Other games like chase, tag. You know, the fun games.
So this type of works, you usually teaching and helping the students, but you wind up learning just as much from the students as they learn from you. So what are some of the things that you have learned from the students during this process?
Well, since I haven't really worked with kids like in the past, I do learn like basically some things that they do, like I don't know if you mean like how some of the things that they do, like little how do I say it, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
It's okay. That's not a problem. Jeff.
I learned how to be patient because working with like a lot of kids, you tend to like, you might get like a little hot tempered a little bit because you know they're all running around doing their own thing and you're trying to get everybody in a controlled situation. So I definitely could say I learned patience on like how to work with certain kids because some kids, you know, they're the good kids, they listen to you every time, but other kids you have to like speak to them a little bit more and like differently so they can get you to do what you want to do. So I'll say patience.
What have you learned?
Multitasking skills, learning how to make sure you manage your group and also keep up with the activity you're trying to teach to your group as well. And you gotta like be aware of your surroundings because like you could be sitting here focused, helping a kid with homework and another kid could be like fighting in a corner.
Right.
So you gotta like, stand up, sit there and like watch them and be focused on everything.
So what are your future plans after you finish LaSalle?
Ooh.
Well, currently I'm still looking at my options. I'm a business major here at LaSalle, so I'm kind of far from education, but I'm starting to like get an interest in psychology and education, so maybe I might change it. I'm still looking at my options though.
I got you.
I'm a computer science major,
Nice.
which is pretty far from education as well. So I'm also still looking at my options. I'm thinking of a minor that like I could like that might be close to kids, but I'm not sure yet. I'm just, you know, looking around, seeing what's good.
Well, at some point you could always teach computer science also.
That's true. I did teach a music technology club during the summer, so I could probably do something like that.
Yep. Spencer.
I'm currently a psychology major and I also minor in communications. And like Colleen said, I kind of like internshiped with her during the summertime and she kind of taught me some skills and stuff like in communications that I could probably like use in offices with her.
I believe a couple of you were participants of CORA, right?
Yes.
So how did that program benefit you?
When I first walked into CORA, I was like, you know, really didn't know anything. It was just like a welcoming environment, like after school, because you know most kids after school they really don't have anything to do unless it's like sports or music and stuff. And in between that like shift between like my two activities, I didn't really have nothing to do, so I would go down there. Like they would help me with my homework if I needed it. We had like fun activities to do, and like it was just overall like a fun, safe environment where you could sit there, talk to the people, like have fun with your friends, and like just stay like out of trouble.
Great. Who else was participants?
Oh, me. You're talking about high school, right?
Yeah, I watched.
Oh, it was pretty fun. Like, you know, after school, after like a hard day at school, we just come down, chill, play ping pong.
Yes.
A few friends. We loved the supervisor there, Miss Amber.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was amazing. Yeah, it was just like a nice environment. Everything was nice and stationed, and yeah, I enjoyed it there.
Tell me a little bit about the Work Ready program.
The Work Ready program, in the summertime, when Miss Amber first brought it upon me, like about the Work Ready, upon us about the Work Ready program, we didn't know like if we were fit for it, cause like, you know, we're working
We didn't
with
really want to
kids.
do it.
They
We
wanted
didn't really want to do it. No,
Yeah, it was like,
no.
we was just like, nah, we don't want to
Like
do
work,
that.
what is that? No.
But then I guess we just decided to try it anyway, because for the summer we had nothing to do anyway. So we was like, well, why don't we just, you know, look at some kids and like get paid for it. And it turned into like a really fun experience. where like you watch kids, you meet new people, the other workers that work with us.
And we liked it.
Yeah, we just like that.
Lucy, can you tell us about a success story you've had?
Success story that I've had.
Mhm.
Well, as of right now, I'm kind of pretty proud of myself for running a club
Right.
at my site, because I never thought that I'd be trusted. I mean, because since I don't have the experience that some of the other workers have there, I was pretty excited and proud of myself that they saw potential in me to be able to run a girls club in the site. So I would say that would be it.
So how did that give you confidence, though? So I know that you, like you said, you were surprised, and that has to give you confidence to take on other challenges and do things. So how does that build your confidence?
Well, it kind of gives me a little push to actually stay there, learn more from my coworkers and my students, so I can actually become a group leader, and after I have enough time and like experience to be there. So because I would really like to be a group leader, so that's kind of giving me a little bit more confidence, because I just started as a teacher's assistant. I didn't think that they would see that potential in me. So yeah.
Great. Well, I want to thank you for coming out, and thanks for being part of CORA Services.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. I'd like to thank our guests from CORA Services for coming in. If you would like to learn more about this organization, please visit their website, coraservices.org. I'm your host, Derek Sawyer. Thank you for watching Future Leaders in Philadelphia, where we believe investing in our youth is investing in our future.